Welcome, welcome, welcome. Before we start, I want to say this. We are more than halfway through the year. We're past 4th of July. This is the time where you're either on track to meet your 2019 goals or you're not going to make it and you're already saying, well, maybe 2020. Nope. And we did not want that. That's why we're doing this special training to say, forget about that. If you're already on track, let's bust through those goals. If you're not, this is a time to reach inside, disturb you a little, answer those questions, overcome those obstacles, and get you on track to making money from today's real estate market. This training is specifically for those of you who've raised your hand and you've gotten one of my courses or Sean's courses on how to make money from real estate. And we don't want this to be a course that's not serving you, that you're not getting the results. And that's why we're doing this right now.
See, we want to break through all the barriers, and I'm so excited to have Dean here because it's been amazing. And the bottom line is there are certain specific barriers that we want to help you through, and we want to bridge that gap from where you are to where you want to be. And we got a lot of stuff we're going to cover tonight. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to blow your mind. I'm super excited to have you guys here because it's going to be an awesome event.
So for those of you that are my students, and I'm sitting next to Sean Terry, like, who's this guy? And that's only a small percentage of you, but listen, if you know anything about me, I'm blessed to surround myself with the greatest on the planet in every area. If I want to work out, I find the best person on the planet. In personal growth, Tony Robbins is my best friend, Brendon Burchard, Ethan Willis. I get to surround myself with the best. Well, real estate's been my life for over 30 years. Listen, I went from broker than broke to having nothing, to no one in my family having money, to being a real estate millionaire in my 20s. Because of real estate. I owe a debt of gratitude to real estate. If it wasn't for Joey Noto and Dominic Affuso and my dad dabbling in real estate and I saw this opportunity, I don't know where I'd be. So I love real estate more than anything. But here's the cool part. As I've grown, as my brands and my companies have done hundreds of thousands of dollars, then millions of dollars, then tens of millions, then hundreds of millions, and my brands and my companies have done over $1 billion in sales, I'm running a million different ways, but I'm obsessing on how to get success and go to the next level. Well, I want to partner with the people that are the best at what they're doing. And right now, I don't know anybody doing wholesale deals better than this guy, than Sean Terry. He's going to do another year of over 200 or around 200 wholesale deals. Oh my God. He also is an amazing educator and he knows what's holding you back. So when we decided to partner up and work together, I'm like, I want to work with the best. That's this guy. I told him that some of my students, they're getting the education, but they're not taking action. They're not committing. They're letting little obstacles stop him. I don't know if you saw the email he sent me. We talked about it on the phone till probably 10 o'clock at night. Next day, he's like, let me get on and train. I know the 4 biggest obstacles plus a few more. Let me train your students. And I'm like, all right, let's do this. And that's the result. That's why you're here right now. This is pure training tonight. This is purely to make the next 6 months, the second half of the year, freaking rock solid so you don't miss out on your goals. All right, I'm excited. Before I leave you here and let you just rock this training, what else? What did I miss about tonight?
No, listen, tonight, wherever you are in your business right now, there are obstacles that are stopping. And the biggest thing about what we're going to cover tonight is how to have a breakthrough in each area. We're going to talk about specific areas, whether you have a minimal marketing budget. Maybe you're out of state and you're in a different state in the area you're in, or a different country, and you want to do deals in the United States. You're doing it virtually or remote. We're going to show you how to bridge that gap. We're going to show you don't have any time. You're working a job. You got your kids and your family and your life, and how do you do it? How can you get in? And you're thinking, well, I don't have time to do this. How am I going to be able to do this? And the next thing you know, you're going to be working your job until you're 65, if you're lucky, whatever, and then retire in the same situation, making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. But you really want to make a change. How can you do it if you don't have any time? If you don't have a marketing budget, what do you do when you have minimal money and you want to go out and get leads? We're going to overcome every single one
you guys
of
are
those
going
barriers. And then you're going, experience. You're like, I don't have any experience, but I'm afraid. And how do I talk to someone? How do I talk to a seller? What do I do?
You guys are in
say?
for it tonight.
So we're going to cover a lot of bases tonight, and it's going to be amazing. And the main thing is to help you have a breakthrough. And if I can give you 1 or 2 or 3 things to make a massive impact, we're not selling anything. This is just a straight educational training because, we talked about it. We said, listen, we want to pour into you as the best we possibly can to go out and make an impact in your life, the absolute best way possible, and give you an opportunity to potentially work with us.
What I want you to see tonight, this is a coaching session from Sean Terry. Listen, coaches have transformed my life more than any other one thing. Masterminds, more than any one thing, to learn from someone who's already been there, someone who already had the obstacles, already was scared, already didn't know how to get started, but then broke through and got the first deal and the 5th deal and the 100th deal and 200 in a year. Like, he knows that, and he's been there. So I've learned the fastest way to the end result is to just rob and learn from people who've already done there. Your own trial and error is scary. Your own trial and error will keep you stuck. And that's why we wanted to do this training tonight. That's why I want you to remember tonight, right this very minute, I want you to remember what you were thinking when you originally got a real estate course from me or for Sean, right? That's the only people were invited, right? So you raised your hand. You're like, I'm not making enough money. I don't like my job. I don't like feeling, living through the eyes of scarcity. I want to do something. I've always wanted to do real estate. I'm going to do it. And then you got the course, but maybe something happened. Maybe life gobbled you back up. Maybe your spouse or someone you care about told you real estate won't work. Or maybe you felt it was the wrong time. Or you felt it just wasn't for you. I think that's all nonsense. I think that's your subconscious trying to protect you. I want you to remember this very moment why you want another level. Why would you like to generate more money? Why would you like to do your own thing? Find that excitement, find that energy, and then do this. Shut off your phone if you're not watching on a phone. Close the tabs on your computer. Close the door of the room you're in. Get a pen, get your journal. Shut off the distractions. You're probably gonna go an hour or 90 minutes tonight, giving you real world tactics, education, and overcoming those obstacles and showing you how to get there. This is your wake up call to make the second half of 2019 better than the first half. If you haven't done a deal yet, how do you get in the deal? How do you get re-energized and make this happen? In fact, here's what I want to do. I'm going to give this all to you. The rest of the night is all Sean. I'd love to play. No, you're going to be ready. I hope you guys are fired up. But what I'd love to do is play a simple little video, a reminder, because maybe you don't 100% resonate with me or resonate with Sean. Maybe you're thinking, Dean, you're doing hundreds of millions of dollars. You don't know where I was. Believe me, I never forget what it was like to be envious. I never forget what it was like to be broke. I never forget how scared I was if I could actually do my first deal. And I will never. That's why I think I get the ability to serve you at the highest level, because that still lives inside of me. But maybe if you don't resonate with us completely, there's a few people that we've helped that maybe you'll resonate with. Watch these few people. Again, this isn't anything other than inspiration to get you in the right mindset to learn from this guy. When these couple little videos are done in the next 90 seconds, then it's all you, Sean. You light them up.
Let's do it, pal.
All right, man.
I'm excited.
Watch this.
You guys ready? Watch this.
Let's do it.
This video goes out to Sean Terry. I got so much information from you, which launched my business. I literally just closed my first deal last week. I'll tell you about it. And I made $35,000.
Dean, what he's capable of doing, it's all the same. It's very powerful stuff, and it's nothing like I've been through before. And this is why I believe that there's no way I'm gonna step back from this.
The day that I was laid off is the first appointment I had with a seller. Finally, I got the deal done and I made, $4,000. I went on to do, this is the second deal that I had just the next month. And shortly after that, actually 2 days after that, I got my third wire.
Dean has just motivated you and makes you feel that there is something else out there. You're not stuck where you are now, but there's so much more for you. And you don't have to just, have that mundane life.
He seems to break everything down, stay positive. He simplifies things that we tend to overcomplicate in our heads.
I do real estate. And thanks to Sean Terry, that's been a huge part of my success, and he knows what he's talking about. He'll jump on there with you, and any questions and all questions you have, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or an expert, he will sit there and answer them for you. Completely changed my life, going from down and out to now run my business from home. I get to make my own hours. I get to wake up whenever I want, and it's undescribable.
Hey, we are back. Those are amazing testimonials. I can't believe it. They were so good. So Thank you, Dean. Appreciate it. I'm excited. He actually gave me the floor. I had to move the chairs out of the way because I have to stand. I get so excited. I gotta stand up here. So we have a lot to cover tonight. We got a ton of information, and I'm super excited to be with you guys here today. And we're gonna talk about how to get back on track in 2019 and how to annihilate these 4 obstacles that literally are stopping people from achieving success. So we're got a ton of information we're going to cover, and I'm so excited for you guys to be here because these obstacles stopped me. They continue to stop me, but I use these tactics to overcome them. So for you guys to be here tonight is phenomenal. I'm super excited about it. So guys on Facebook, Instagram, if you guys are watching right now, join us over at SeanTerryLive.com, SeanTerryLive.com, and you can join us over here to watch the slide deck and stuff like that. All right, so that's enough I'll say with that. All right, so let's get into it. I'm excited. Let's go through. If you put the slide up there, I'd appreciate it. All right, so how to get back on track in 2019, the 4 obstacles. But go next. Let's talk about the 4 obstacles. What are the 4 obstacles that are holding people back? Well, the first one is limited time, right? So I don't know about you, but time is an issue, right? Because we get busy in our life doing stuff. We start basically living life and going through the process. And I know I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and I got my wife, and she's busy. I've got my 20-year-old daughter is going to college right now. I had to move her out of college and bring her home, and I had to get storage units and get a U-Haul and get all her stuff back to the house. And I got teaching my youngest daughter how to drive, and she's getting her license, actually next week. So it's pretty exciting. But what happens is life gets involved, and you might have a job right now, and you might be working, a full-time job, and you might be, having to answer to a boss, and you have projects, and you have your kids, and you have your family, and you're commuting to work, and you have a lunch, off, and you saw this real estate thing, and you want to do it, you really want to achieve it, but the problem is you're wondering how the heck can you do this? How the heck can you make this happen? So we're going to annihilate that time issue. I'm going to give you actually 3 incredibly important tactics that you can use, and then another one on how to use your schedule, right? And that is going to make a made a massive difference on how I actually viewed time. We're going to talk about revenue generating activities. So second obstacle is limited marketing budget, right? Limited marketing budget. Now, limited marketing budget is where you don't have a lot of money to go out and spend in marketing. So what happens is you get in this business, right? You get maybe in real estate and wholesaling, and you want to go out and you want to do deals. But the problem is now you've got to turn around and you got to get a list, and you got marketing, you got all these different channels to try to generate leads, but you're on a limited budget. Maybe you have a couple $100 a month to spend on marketing, going, how can I do this? I have limited time, and now I have limited money to be able to try to go out and make this happen. How can I do this? How can I generate leads? And there's not enough to create momentum. So what we're going to do is we're going to annihilate that obstacle. I'm going to show you the exact same obstacle that obstacle right there, limited marketing budget, how I was able to come over that. I'm going to give you some methods that you can do, plus free methods that we can talk about, so you can start talking to sellers and making offers. All right, so now this is one that's been huge, and it's for people that live in a small town. People live maybe out of the United States and wants to do deals in the United States, or people that that want to do deals in another state. They're in Arizona and they want to do deals in Texas or whatever. It's called remote house flipping. So if you look at that right there, that might be an obstacle, because you're going to say, listen, I live in a very small town. How do I make that go out and happen? How do I do that? If I live in a different country, how can I make that happen? So we're going to actually give you and kind of go through a 9-step process where you can go out there and be able to understand the process. Now I can tell you that in itself is an entire course on how to go out in remote house flipping and do it. But I'm going to give you the basic understanding of how it can happen so you can kind of understand, so maybe you can make some progress and start picking a market. I'm actually going to give you the top markets in the entire country right now and how we pick them, so you can potentially pick a market. We'll show you the steps involved where you can start doing some remote house flipping yourself. Now, the last one is no experience. So this one was difficult for me, especially because when I first got started, because I didn't have anybody to actually lean on. I didn't have a coach. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have something like this, right? I couldn't get on a live and listen to someone how to do this. I read books. I actually read Dean's books, and I read, other books, and tried to get as much information as possible, and try to hack my way through it. But I had no experience. But, when you're going to talk to a seller, wouldn't it be great to have someone to actually talk to that could hold your hand and tell you what to say? Or a seller calls in and they have a question and they say, on deal structure, that's probably, on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, the different channels and stuff. One of the biggest questions I get is about specific deal structure, right? And here's the thing, what happens is you might have an amazing deal that comes across your plate, but if you don't know how to structure it, that could slip right through your fingers. So I know I was afraid to actually take action by myself, because what if I screwed up? What if I said something wrong? What if, I did some paperwork wrong, or I potentially got sued or something like that? I got scared and I was like, what do I do? And I really just wanted to have somebody to lean on. So there's a lot of people that I found that are in this struggle, and they have limited time to do it. They want to do it, and they have limited marketing budget, and I don't have a lot of money to do it. And, they live in, maybe a small town or maybe out of the country, and they want to do it, and they don't have any experience, and they don't really have anybody, it's hard. Maybe you bought a course and you bought some information, some training, and some education, maybe some of my courses or Dean's courses, and you want to do this. You really want to do it, and you had all your aspirations and all your dreams and all your goals and everything laid out in 2019. January 2019, you sat down and laid out, this is the year that's going to be different for me. And now it's July, right? And now we're going halfway through the year. We're going, holy cow. How can you get back? How can you gain traction? So here's the thing, and this is what I'm excited about, and this is why I have to stand. Because tonight is the night where it all changes for you. Tonight is the night I literally am not holding it. There's nothing for sale. This is strictly an absolute coaching session for you. I'm going to spend, I don't know. I'm going to blow through it as fast as humanly possible to give you the most information as possible. I'm actually going to give you something really cool on here, which is going to be awesome. But the bottom line is, my mission tonight is to make an absolute impact in your life, to nudge you, to push you over the edge, to give you a breakthrough so you can transform to the next side. I want this. Steve Jobs talks about in his commencement speech about dots. You can go back and you can look at the dots in your life that made the massive impact. This, I want to be a dot for you. I am truly, absolutely focused tonight on delivering that dot for you. So when you look back 6 months from now, a year from now, 3 months from now, and you go, wow, that made the difference. I want this to make the difference for you. So our mission is to eliminate those obstacles and just annihilate them so you have them no more. So let's move on. All right, so here's the thing too, right? One of the key things, take notes, one of the key things is making actual written offers. Written offers. So what happens is you market for a seller, or you talk to a seller, and you make a strategic offer to a seller, and you have to write a physical contract and give that contract to a seller. One of the biggest questions that I get from Instagram people, messages, emails, is they want a contract. They're like, how can I get a contract? How can I get a contract? Where do I get the contract? How do I go? What do I do? And obviously we have them in our courses and stuff like that. And you guys maybe you purchased our courses, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, whatever. The bottom line is I'm going to give you our purchase contract for free tonight at the end of this. I'm going to give it to you. And it's a simple contract. It's the one that we use, and it protects you in multiple different ways. There's multiple layers of protection in that contract for you. So we're going to give you that at the end of this. I'm going to give you a URL that you can go to, and you can download that contract for free. I'm going to give you that tonight. And it's definitely going to make an impact for sure. Okay, if you don't know me, you've never heard me before, this is my family. This is why I do what I do. That's my wife, my 16-year-old daughter. She is absolutely amazing singer. She just released her first single. She sang at the Yankees game, the Diamondbacks game in front of 55,000 people. She's an amazing singer. My oldest daughter is being a nurse right now. She's going to college, studying and getting all the entrance exam. My wife is actually the rock star of the entire family. She is a designer, and she can make she can find turn a house into something terrible and make it look amazing, which is really cool. So I love my family. I've been married for 23 years, and my kids are phenomenal, and I'm very blessed. And for that, I definitely give the glory to God for that one, because I'm very blessed and lucky to have such an amazing family. So that being said, also run a company here in Phoenix called Phoenix Wholesale Homes. I've been wholesaling for 15 years. Wholesale over $200 million worth of wholesale properties. That's a lot of deals. And what I want to express to you is this, is that I don't have any more talent than anybody, right? I don't have any more skills, any more talent. I'm definitely not better than anybody at all or anything. There's nothing different about me than somebody else. The only difference is experience, and that's it. So what I'd like to do is tonight is give you the ability, give you the steps that I was able to learn and apply to be able to get that experience, to start making offers and start talking to sellers and start getting that momentum. We know that once we get momentum and get that excitement and get going and start doing it, then we have that thrill of success. And I want that for you more than anything, because I know once you get that and you catch that fire, it's almost like you got a fire going. I was a Marine for 4 years, and we were tied, we're sitting there, you got a stick. Here's a stick, right? I got a stick. And you're sitting there trying to make a fire, and you're going, and you're blowing on, and you're trying to do it. And guess what? It takes momentum. And then if you do it long enough, you do it, and you're focused on it, boom, next thing you know, you get a fire that blazes. And that's what I want for you. And what happens is you just got to have that momentum. And you're sitting there trying to create the fire. You're trying to do it, and nothing's happening. You're like, what is wrong? What am I doing wrong? What if I screwed up? What if I messed up? Is this right? Do I got the right stick? Am I doing it right? Do I have enough of that? And you're asking all the questions, but guess what? Your fire will start. And I'm going to show you tonight, and your fire is going to start tonight. So here's the thing. Phoenix Wholesale Home started a podcast back in 2010, actually out of my car. I recorded the first podcast out of my car. I remember the first episode I did, I had a little mic and I recorded into the mic, and it was so hot outside. I had the AC that was blowing on me. I went back and listened to the recording, and I heard the wind from the AC into the mic on my first podcast ever that I recorded, and I had to turn it off. I turned the car off, and I'm sitting there recording in the car, and I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, doors shut, in a parking lot, because I couldn't go to my house because my kids were there screaming and yelling. My wife had the honey to-do list. I didn't have an office to go to at the time, so I'm in my car recording into this little mic, sitting there talking about, getting started in real estate and telling my story the first time. And guess what? This was before there was any podcasts. This was like 2010. There was 2 real estate podcasts out there at all. Now there's, I know most of the podcasters, a lot of them I helped create their podcasts. The bottom line, I'm sitting there in my car recording my first podcast, and I'm literally melting. I was completely drenched from doing it. But that podcast from that show turned around, and now we've got over 10 million listeners that have listened to it in 196 different countries. And it's just been amazing. It's changed people's lives, which absolutely, that's my passion. I love to do. 1-800-FAIR offer, Flip to Freedom Academy, all kill things. And I love speaking in front of people. I love making an impact. That is my absolute passion. I love real estate. I love doing deals. I do a lot of wholesale deals. We're currently, I own about 420 multifamily, college, student housing properties we have. We're in escrow on another 2 properties right now that are $20 million worth of real estate right now. Actually going to fly out in a week or so to go out and look at those properties and do walkthroughs on it. So it's amazing. It's awesome. I love real estate and I love doing this, and I really, really know for a fact that if you take the couple things that we're talking about, maybe 1 or 2, and you apply them tonight in your business and you apply it to your life and you start creating that momentum, you'll have a massive shift. Because I look back where I was, back in 2003. I was 33 years old. I had a young daughter, which is my older daughter now, right? She's Alexa. She was a little, baby, and my wife, and is 33 years old, and I was struggling to try to find my niche. I wasn't in real estate at the time. I was literally selling pools and landscaping in the heat, right? And I would design someone's pool and I'd sell them a landscaping package of trees and plants and this, that, and the other, and I just did not like it. I was overweight. I didn't like getting up in the morning, even though I had to go meet people on job sites. And I was 33 years old and I was lost. I was completely lost. I didn't know what to do with my life. I'm like, I've got to do something. I wanted so much more. I was depressed. I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I'm 33, for crying out loud. I'm almost 40, right? And I'm sitting there looking at myself going, what am I going to do? And at the time, I remember my wife, she goes, you liked real estate back in the day. Why don't you look at real estate? And she told me about real estate and, brought that idea back in my head. And I goes, yeah. And I read a book about being a real estate agent. I was like, I just can't see myself being a real estate agent. Although real estate agents, my wife's a real estate agent, they're amazing. I just didn't see myself being a real estate agent. And then that's when, it's amazing how things happen. You get an idea, or your wife gives you an idea, something happens, you start searching for something, you really want to change in your life, you want something different, and you put that out there. And that's why maybe you're here tonight. And you put that out there. You want to change. You want something different. You want more out of your life. I was 33 and I'm like, what am I going to do? Depressed, overweight, drank too much, right? Had a kid, and I just had literally no life. And struggling, living financially was a wreck, living month to month, and it sucked. I'm like, you know what? This is terrible. I got to do something. What can I do? And she planted that little seed about real estate. And then I turn around and I'm driving one Saturday afternoon in my car to a landscape and pool appointment. And this guy came on the radio, started talking about how you could wholesale houses and flip houses. And I actually was so negative and so skeptical and so, my mind was so closed, I laughed at him. I was like, you can't do that. That's a scam. You need cash, you need credit, you have to buy the house, you have to rent it, you have to fix it up and sell it, right? You can't just sell a house you don't own. You can't do that. And there's people he was talking about, just like the testimonials you saw of people saying, hey, I made this and I made that and I made this and I made that. And I literally laughed under my breath and I was like, that is not real. It's a scam. And I turned the channel back and I stopped listening to what this guy had to say. Thank God today that I know for a fact it was God's intervention that I was driving down the freeway and I had this gut feeling, right? This feeling in my gut that I knew something was tugging at me to turn that channel back and listen to what this guy had to say. And I turned it back and he explained this concept of wholesaling. Now, the concept of wholesaling, obviously we all know, is you get a property under contract with a seller, a distressed seller, right? And then you can turn around and you can find a cash buyer that does have the cash, and they fix up the property, and they put money into it, and they buy and hold it as a rental, right? What I am as a wholesaler is I basically bridge the gap. I turn around and I can find these sellers, and we become more of a marketer, and we're looking for these sellers, and we want to provide a service to these sellers. And what's that service? We want to help them out of their situation. So our company, basically our motto at 1-800-FAIR-OFFER, and what we do is we are on a mission to, and we know that we want to help as many distressed sellers as possible out of their situation. We want to provide value to them as much as humanly possible. We want to turn around and allow them to be able to help them out of their solution. So we've helped people that, they inherited properties and they didn't know what to do with it, and they met with a realtor, and the realtor told them that they had to clean up the whole property and fix it up before they can turn around and sell it, and they didn't know what to do, and we were helping them sell that property. And yes, we could make a small profit on it, but they made the bulk of the profit on it, and guess what? The cash buyer was able to fix it up and turn around and help the neighborhood. So it's a great thing that we're doing. Not only are we helping the buyer, right? Because we're helping them achieve their goals of rental goals or fix and flip goals. We're helping the seller out of a tough situation, and we're able to profit ourselves. It's an amazing business that we are in. And you might be in that right now, and in that situation where you wanted to get in wholesaling, you want to do wholesaling, and you want to get up and going, you want to flip properties, but you're stuck because you don't have the time, or you don't have the marketing budget, or you don't have, you don't live in the right market, you believe, or you don't feel you have the experience, and we're going to crush that tonight. So let's get into it. All right, so first, obstacle number one is limited time. So let's talk about limited time and what that is. And that is, it's a physical thing and it's a mental thing. Physical thing means you have limited time, right? It's like, hey, I only got so much time in a day. I wake up early, I go to work, I commute, I got a boss I got to go to. I've got lunch for, half hour, and I typically take it at my desk, and I have to, go home, and I commute home, and I got my kids I got to take care of, and then, by the time I, talk to my wife and stuff, and I got to go to bed, right? And I got to wake up and I got to do it all over again. I get weekends off, right? I get it. I understand it. It's life. It gets in the way. But here's the thing, is that I'm the exact same way, and so is everybody else. It's amazing how once you commit to something, how time all of a sudden expands. So let's annihilate the limited time obstacle. I'm going to give you a couple different things on a tactical basis, and then more of a mental basis to overcome it. First off, we have to be absolutely crystal clear on what we want. Now, if you are absolutely 1000% crystal clear on exactly what you want, and you knew exactly what you want, what happens is the universe, God lines up, everything lines up, where now things start coming your way in the perfect way. Now, we're going to talk about how that kind of steps into each other. But the bottom line is, and I'll give you an example. I got my businesses, I'm super busy, I'm running around doing stuff. I wanted to get into multifamily space. This was about 15 months ago. I wanted to get into multifamily. I read, reading books about it, listening to podcasts about it, but I was slammed. I got my wholesaling business, I'm running around, I'm doing deals, I'm hiring people, I'm training people, I'm doing this other stuff, my education business, and doing this and doing that, running around doing. And I'm like, where am I going to find time to analyze deals and learn more about this and do stuff? And so I wanted to do it, but I wasn't crystal clear on exactly what I wanted. I just knew I wanted to get in the multifamily space. So that might be you. You might be in a situation right now, you want to get into the real estate space, right? But you're not really crystal clear on specifically exactly what you want. So that's exactly the way I was. I wasn't crystal clear. So what happened is I first got crystal clear. I said, I want 10,000 multifamily units in the next 10 years. I want 10,000. Now, to me, that was a massive obstacle. Huge, I mean, massive, like huge undertaking, huge goal. 10,000 units. I didn't even have one. I mean, I had some houses and stuff like that, but at the time, I didn't have one multifamily property. Didn't know the management company, didn't know what type of sector, didn't anything. I just knew about it, read about it, never did it before. But I set a specific, absolute 100% crystal goal. So what's a crystal goal you could set? And there's different people that are watching this right now. There's people that are brand new and they've never got a deal before. If you've never got a deal before, you can set a crystal clear goal to get your first check in 90 days or less. You want to get your first check in 90 days or less. Imagine getting your first check. Now, my first check was $11,008 in May of 2003, and that changed everything for me. And I can tell you, once you get that first check in your hands, it's amazing, but you gotta be crystal clear. So what I want you to do first off is get crystal clear. If you haven't got your first check yet, your mission should be, I've gotta get my first check in 90 days or less. And you have to define the amount. Let's call it $12,000. You can define the timeline, 90 days or less. Absolutely crystal clear about it. 100% crystal clear. So what I did is I want 10,000 units. Did I know how to do it? No. Did I know how to get it? No. Did I have the time to analyze the deals? No. Did I know how to analyze the deals? Did I know where to get the deals? No. It's the exact same thing. Don't worry about the how, just set the intention, the clarity, the mission, crystal clear of exactly what you want. So let's say you're doing 2 or 3 deals a month, right? And you want to go out and do 2 more deals. Well, guess what? Go out and say, listen, I want to go out and do my first $100,000 month. I remember my first $100,000 month. That kind of changed everything. The whole paradigm shifts happens when you do $100,000 in a month. It's like, wow, it's amazing. I made more in a month than the average person makes in a couple years. It's crazy. It's amazing. So it might, and that's going to create a consistency, because once you do it, it stretches your mind, and bam, you make it happen. Or maybe you want to go out and you want to crush it, hit $1 million a year, right? I remember my first time hit $1 million a year wholesaling house. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't even know I did it until I looked at the books. I'm like, wow, we hit $1 million. That's amazing. Pretty cool. So wherever you are in your business, you can set a crystal clear, absolute 100% goal. That's number one. Number two is we've got to get obsessed. We got to get absolutely 100% obsessed. You set the intention, crystal clear, exactly what you want. Now we've got to breathe it, smell it, taste it, eat it. We just got to submerge it. We got to dive into it. It's like, imagine a pool of blue ink. You just submerge yourself in it and you come out like a Smurf, right? It's like you have to be absolutely obsessed. So how do you get obsessed? That's the question. How do you get just on fire to go out and crush it? How do you do it? Well, you know what you do? You write it down specifically what you want. And then once you have it written down specifically what you want, then you turn around and you read it every morning. You read it when you're going to the bathroom. You read it in the middle of the afternoon. You read it at night before you go to bed, and you think about it. You think about it all the time. When you wake up in the middle of the night, you think about it. You can't stop thinking about it, right? You're just like, I just gotta have this. And it's going to take a little bit to get that obsession and to get focused on. It's not going to happen immediately. You're not going to write it down all of a sudden, read it and go, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. No, you're going to get obsessed about it. And you read it in the morning. Now, I have gone as far as recorded myself, my goals, and I listen to it at the gym in the morning. And I listen to it when I go to bed. And I'm programming myself on what I want to achieve. Crystal clear on exactly my intention and my mission. Now, let me ask you a question. If you were crystal clear and you knew exactly what you want, and you were absolutely obsessed, nothing could stop you. Nothing could stop you. Time is not an issue. You would find a way. You would create time to make it happen. Why? Because it's a priority, which is our next step, right? We want to take what's called micro actions. And we're actually going to we're going to talk about tonight, micro actions that you can take within your minimal marketing budget that you can specifically take today, tonight, right now, tomorrow morning, that you can take those micro actions to produce a result. Here's the deal. There is a commitment, crystal clear, an obsession, a micro action that you can take. And then there's the actual, if it's going to happen or not. So for me, my phone's right there. For me, if I don't put it in my schedule, it doesn't happen. So what we do, and here's what I do. Here's what I do with my schedule, so you understand. My schedule is first off, Sunday night, I schedule everything I want to accomplish for the week, right? The first thing that goes in there is my family. Everything goes in there, my family comes first, right? Second thing goes in there is my quiet time, myself, what's going to happen. So I wake up at 5:30 in the morning and I got this quiet time that I have where I can focus, I can pray, I can read the Bible, I can do what I'm going to do, and I focus, and that's where I'm focused, right? And then I go to the gym. So all this goes in my schedule. This is the important stuff that goes in my schedule first. Now, guess what? I have to wake up earlier before everybody else, because as soon as everybody else gets up, they have the chatter and what's going on, and then I get my family and I make breakfast and I talk to my wife and have all that type of stuff, right? Life goes on as soon as they get, so wake up earlier. And people go, well, I need 8 hours of sleep. No, you don't. Who said that? You don't need 8 hours of sleep. I don't get 8 hours of sleep. I function fine on 5 or 6. I'm good. Right? I still go to bed at 11, 12 o'clock at night and wake up at 5:30, and you can still crank. And you still have energy, and you're still excited, and you can still motivate, and you'll get stuff done. So here's the deal. So once I schedule in my family, I schedule in my personal time, I schedule in the gym, then all the task, my work stuff goes in there. Or anything else I have to, anything else like things I have to take care of. Those schedule in there, and then all my work stuff schedules in there. Now, you might be looking, well, listen, I got my whole work schedule, and I got this, and I got that. Well, guess what? You might have to wake up early. Now, here's the deal. It's called zig-zag. I remember a very successful wholesaler asked me, he's like, hey, how do you manage your time? I feel like I'm working all the time. You got zig and zag. So what does zigzag mean? Zig is you got to crush it hard and say, listen, 90 days, I'm going to go nuts. And I'm not going to sleep in. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to crush it. I'm going to be spot on 100%. I'm going to go to bed late. I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to put everything I've got into everything I do. And then I'm going to zag. And that zag time might be a weekend, might be a week where you're like, oh. And that's where you're going to zag. Take some time off, right? And then you're going to get refreshed, and you come back and zig again. You set the goal, set the intention, set the motivation, get crystal clear, get obsessed, and then micro actions, crank it, crush it, bam, and zag, right? And if you zig and you zag and you zig and you zag, every successful person I met zigs and zags. And you can do it too. Because now you have, guess what? You can do anything for a month. You can do anything for 2 months. Crank it hard as you can. And you'll be amazed what happens. So then I schedule everything out, and my day is literally scheduled every 15 minutes on the 15 minutes from 5:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, and I crush from 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock at night, and I get more done than the average person does in the week, right? But you have time. You have all the time. Get off of Facebook. Get off of Instagram. Stop watching TV, right? Stop doing that. And guess what's going to happen? Amazing things will happen. All right, so that's the limited time. Schedule it out, put it in the schedule, get crystal clear, get obsessed, and guess what? That objection will melt away in front of you. It won't be an objection. Why? Because you have to. Because you must. It's funny because, it's really not funny. It's like if you get sick, or if you have a family member get sick for some reason, guess what? You find a way to be there to support them and help them. You find the way. You'll find the time to make that happen. So if it's important to you, if you're crystal clear, if you're absolutely obsessed, you will take those micro actions, and you will, especially if you schedule it out, you'll make it happen. So what you do is you schedule an hour, and I'm doing this specific action in an hour, and you'll be amazed what happens. All right, let's move on. Limited marketing budget. So now you've got time. We just created time for you. Isn't that feel good? Right? Because you're now obsessed. You now know exactly what you want. You created more time. You realize you don't need 8 hours of sleep. Think about it. If you take 2 hours extra a day in the morning and you do that for a year and you do that times 5, you just gained a year of extra time. You created time. Listen, you can sleep when you're dead, okay? You'll have plenty of time to do that. So don't worry about it. You'll be fine. All right, so now, limited time marketing budget, limited marketing budget, right? So you want to do this, but I can't do this because I don't have a lot of capital to get started with limited marketing budget. What can you do? Here's what you do. Step 1. You want to buy a pre-foreclosure list. It's cheap, it's small. I'll give you 2 places you can get it. 1, listsource.com. listsource.com, or 2, REI Automator. REI Automator is the freshest, best, cheapest data that you can get it. There's a coupon code for 30% off at flipfam.com. It's the cheapest because you can pull as much data as you want. Up to like 10,000 units a month off it, which is a significant amount of data. Whereas ListSource, you have to pay for the data that you pull. Now, if you have limited funds, you might just want to get a list of 200 or 300 pre-foreclosures at the time. So what's a pre-foreclosure? It's someone that's about to lose their house in foreclosure. So they're about to lose their house. You can help them out of their situation so they don't mess up their credit and they don't lose their house, right? And it goes back to the bank. You can actually solve that problem. So what we do is we want to specifically target someone in pre-foreclosure so we can help them out of their situation. We can get that list from listsource.com. You can pull it right out of there, or you can get it from REI Automator. Make sure you use the coupon code FLIPFAM and you can get that. That's the first step. You got to have a list. Now, when I first started, that's the first thing. I had a list. Now, I was taught to knock on pre-foreclosure doors. Now, I'm not going to tell you to go knock on pre-foreclosure doors because there's easier ways to get in front of people. The bottom line is that in Phoenix, it was very hot. It was in May of 2003. It was like sweaty outside. It was knocking on doors. It's scary. And I don't even want to get into my story about that, but we'll do that at some other time. The bottom line is that there are easier, better ways. Now, what you can do, and this is what also I did right here, is you can hand write and mail 25 letters a day. So you're wondering, well, what do I write? Well, guess what? There's a letter right here, right? And what does it say? It says, hi, whatever, Mark, my name is Kyle, and I would like to buy your property at so-and-so address. Please call me today and there's the phone number, and we can close. So just take a screenshot of this page right here or whatever while we're doing it, and just use that. Or you know what? Actually, just Google yellow letter, and you can look at the yellow letter examples, and I grabbed this just right off that. I've used this letter personally, and it works incredibly well. And this is what I mailed to pre-foreclosures. And guess what? You're not referencing the pre-foreclosure because people get mad when you do that because they feel like how'd you get that information? But what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I want to buy their house. And what's going to happen, it's going to create a curiosity, and they're going to call you. So handwrite the letters from your kitchen table. That's what I did. I sat down, my daughter was doing homework and kids were doing this and that and Mike was doing whatever, and I'd sit down and I wrote 25 letters a night, 6 nights a week, right? 25 letters a night, and I'd take them, mail them, lick them, stamp them, and I put them in the mailbox. And you can do that on a limited, you don't need thousands of dollars of marketing money to be able to do that. Now, the next thing is that's going to get leads. That will get sellers to call you, which you want. And guess what? You know what can happen? Have them go to your cell phone and just have them, leave a message. And just on your message on your cell phone, hey, this is Jim. Please leave your name and number after the tone. You don't have to be this professional investor from a company. Hi, I'm going to buy houses. You don't have to have letterhead. You don't have to have an LLC set up. You don't have to have business cards. I did my first like 3 or 4 deals. I didn't have business cards. I didn't have letterhead. I didn't have an LLC set up. I just went out and knocked on doors, and guys goes, yeah, I'll sell a house to you. I mean, got it under contract. Didn't even know I didn't have a contract. I went to Staples to try to go get a contract. I filled it out. Found some guy that bought it and made $11,000. I was like, oh my gosh, that works. I want that for you. It's amazing. But here's the deal. You gotta get people to talk to. Instead of actually going out and knocking on doors like I did, pre-foreclosures, they can call you. If you send out 25 a day, boom, sellers will call you. You're not gonna get a flood of calls. Your phone's not gonna melt. You're gonna get a handful of calls though. And you can get those handful of calls and you can go on appointments. Now, next thing is skip trace. What does skip trace mean? Skip trace means is it takes the list and it will match up to it a landline and a cell phone number. So it's gonna, landline and cell phone. Why is that important? We never had that when I did that. If they would have had that, are you kidding me? I'd have been on the phone going, I would just been going nuts. I didn't have that. You know what we had? I went and got in my car and drove to their house. Right, in 2003, I think they had dial-up. Didn't they have dial-up, Chris, in 2003? Yeah, so I dial up online and I go, you got mail, right? And I get on there, Yahoo, and I turn around, put in Yahoo Maps or MapQuest, which sucks, and I turn around and get that, and I drive all over the planet and knock on pre-foreclosure doors. It's so much easier now. So now you can handwrite letters, 25 a day, send them out, skip trace the list, they'll match it with cell phone numbers and landlines, and then you can cold call the list. Cold call. Pick up the phone and call the seller, right? Hello, first name. All right, how you doing? You know, I know this call's out of the blue. I was calling about your property. I believe you own, here's the address. Just wanted to see if you consider a cash offer on your property. You know what they're gonna say? Nah, we're gonna keep it. Okay, thank you very much. Or yeah, I consider a cash offer. Great. Right? And then just talk to them and set an appointment with them. That will get you started. You don't have to have a script and everything lined up and all the ducks in a row and everything perfect. Just go. You can do it, right? Now, the next step, boom. You can text the sellers. You can text them. Now, back then we had flip phones. I didn't text back then. We didn't do that, right? Now we do. Now we text. We text about anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 sellers a day right now. The bottom line is you can text, but the cool thing is you don't need a cool software to do it. You can use your smartphone. You can turn around, you can take a cell phone number, you can put it in, and you can text them. And that's what you say. Hi, Craig, and this is what we send. I asked our Devin, who manages our text in our office right here, and I said, what's the best text that you're sending right now that's working really now with sellers? She goes, hey, and she sent it to me. Hi, Craig, have you thought about selling your college property there, 8510 South College Lane, no cost to you at all. I'm a local investor, looking forward to hearing from you, Devin, right? So that's what she's texting out, 3,000 to 4,000 a day text she's sending out right now, right? You can do that from your farm. You can say, I'm gonna schedule an hour and I'm gonna text as many people in an hour as possible. You can schedule it, you can do it, and you can get it done. Now, they reply back, you have a conversation. Hey, I'd like to make an offer. Hey, how'd you get my information? Well, I drive around the neighborhood and I see you had a house, right? And whatever, and guess what? Set an appointment with that seller. You wanna set an appointment. Now I told you, right, we're gonna get you a contract. Well, that's the next step. You set an appointment, you meet the seller, and you can make an offer on that property. But we're talking specifically about a limited marketing budget, Now, here's the cool thing about this that I wanna tell you right here, is that, you might look at this, you might go, I wanna get obsessed, I wanna have my thing, I wanna have it all set up. The cool thing is Dean and I set something up that you love for all the people that need help and they want someone to help them and they want someone to hold their hand through the process. I just want to throw this out there real quick, just because I thought I'd do that. Go to apply at obm.com. Apply at obm.com. Go check that out. right? And it's a cool video in there, but continue watching this, but just put that down. If you have, go out there and check it out. And what that is something where it'll give you the option, because I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I don't want you to get in a situation where I'm afraid what to say. I need to have that help. I need someone to hold my hand and pull me up the mountain. I need someone to help me do it. So if that's you, go and check that out. Apply at OBM.com, apply at OBM.com. All right, now, next one, remote house flipping. Now, remote house flipping is interesting. This is an obstacle where someone may live in out of country, they live out of country, or they live in a small town, or they want to do business in another city or state. They live in Arizona and they want to do business in Las Vegas, Nevada for some reason, all right? So here's the deal, remote house flipping. This is where you do deals outside of your local market, right? This is a pretty good. So there are essentially 9 steps, right, to this. And I'm gonna go through these for you, these 9 steps. Now, this in itself, like I said, is incredibly detailed. It's a whole course. I want to give you an overview or a premise of exactly how it works so you have an idea or a methodology you can follow when it comes to remote house flipping. So first off, pick a city to do business in. So you want to pick a city. So where should you do business? Well, what happens is we pick cities off of rent to value ratio, their appreciation rate in that particular market, and the cash buyer activity. So if you look at all the United States, so if you're in, you know, wherever you're in Italy, and you want to do houses in the United States, how do you pick a state? How do you pick a city? If you're in Phoenix and you want to do deals in other cities and states, how do you pick a city? Where do you pick? You got the whole map, you got the whole United States. Where do you actually can flip houses? Well, what you can do is you can look at the rent to value ratio, you look at the appreciation, and you can look at the cash buyer activity, and that will give you the best places. Now, I did the analysis for you. I'm just going to tell you, okay? So Dallas-Fort Worth is #1 on the market. Rent to value ratio is about 10.85%. Appreciation is about 8.69%, and cash buyer activity is about 44%. So Dallas-Fort Worth is #1. Denver Aurora is #2. Miami Fort Lauderdale is #3. Houston, the Woodlands is #4. Atlanta, right? Sandy Springs is #6. Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, great market. Austin, Round Rock, Texas, Austin. Orlando, and Nashville. So Dallas, Denver, Miami, Houston, Atlanta, Tampa, Austin, Orlando, and they go all from rent value ratio to appreciation and cash buyer activity. Actually, interestingly enough, Miami has the highest cash buyer activity along with Orlando, interestingly enough. So when it comes to finding it, I just want to give you, so you didn't have to do all the research and find it all and stuff like that, we did it for you, and on how to do that. Now we got to find the hottest zip codes, the activity in the area of what's going on, the hottest area. Now, the cool thing is about REI Automator, the software we talked about to pull a pre-foreclosure list that we talked about. FlipFam was the coupon code there and get 30% off. That right there, that will show you that you can pull the market, give you a map, and you can pull the hottest, and it'll give you red zones of the hottest little pockets in any market across the country. Now, if you didn't want to do that, you could pull it through ListSource for the hottest zip codes in the country if you wanted. So now, that's #2. So once you know the market, let's say you pick Dallas, Texas. Now, out of Dallas, Texas, you say, I want to pick the hottest zip codes in the area. Because if you're going to deploy marketing, direct mail, cold calling, texting, like we talked about, and you're going to send letters, and you're going to cold call, and you're going to text, you don't really want to do broad on all of them, but you want to hit really the areas where are super hot, where you know if you get a property under contract, you can sell. The biggest problem I see with people getting started in real estate is they get a deal in the middle of nowhere. And they go, I got a deal, oh my goodness, the seller, I got this contract on this deal in the middle of nowhere. And the problem is they're having a hard time selling that property, right? Because the thing is you have basically, 3 buyers in as a wholesaler, we have 3 buyers. We have a fix and flip buyer, we have a buy and hold buyer, and we have a retail buyer, right? Now, in my business, the majority of the properties we sell our properties to are fix and flip or buy and hold. We rarely sell to retail buyers because a retail buyer doesn't have cash or hard money. And they have to have cash or hard money. They can't use a conventional FHA loan because it breaks the chain of title. Okay, so what happens is we have to have cash or hard money that is typically an investor, and they're not going to want to buy a house in the middle of nowhere, especially if there's no comparable sales. It's not a hot area. It's not great for rents. It's not great for appreciation. So people get properties on these outskirt areas, and they go, I can't sell it because nobody wants to buy it. So what we do is we pick a super hot city, then we pick a super hot zip code, and then we deploy strategic marketing. We do direct mail, we send letters, we can cold call, we can text right out of that area. And now what happens, we're gonna get a response from sellers, right, on that when we deploy that marketing. Now, before we do that, we have to locate and secure a strategic partner as a boots on the ground. Now remember, you're gonna be doing this remotely. It's remote house flipping. You're gonna do this remotely, meaning that you are literally can be in your underwear, hanging out by your pool, at a beach, at anywhere in the world and do this. But you do need at least one strategic partner on the ground. Now, one of the best places to have a strategic partner is a new realtor. And a great place to find a new realtor is on HUDHomestore.com. HUD Home Store is where they actually sell HUD investment properties. And on HUDHomestore.com, you can go a place and look for realtors, and it gives you can search Phoenix, Arizona, you can search Dallas, Texas, and you can pick like the zip codes you want to go in. It will give you the broker's information. You can call that broker and ask them if they have a new realtor that you can partner with because you're in a different city, okay? And that is a great way to find boots on the ground. And what do you do is it's a strategic partner. Right? What they're going to do is how you can work with them. They can turn around and help you sell the property, and they could potentially earn a commission. You could give them a flat fee, $1,000, $2,000 if they sell the property. And because they're a new realtor, they want to establish business and relationships with somebody doing stuff. So locating and securing a strategic partner is important. So now when you're doing your direct mail, now remember, you're going to be doing this all over the phone. So now you're going to take calls. Think about this. So you pick the perfect market, you pick the perfect zip code, you deployed the perfect marketing. Now you're taking calls from sellers, but you're kicking back by the pool, right? It's a beautiful day outside. You're not in the office. You don't have to deal with an office. You have a guy on the ground you're talking to, right? And now you take calls from sellers. And you build rapport with them. You talk to them. You figure out how you can help them, right? And then what you do is you set an appointment with the seller on the phone. Just like you do, like we in Phoenix, we set physical appointments and our sales guys go meet with the seller in the house. You can't do that with remote house flipping, but you can set an appointment. And this will give you time to gather as much information from the seller, and then you're able to set an appointment with the seller and then say, listen, I want to set an appointment at this specific time, and you give them a choice. Would you like, I can do 10 o'clock tomorrow, or I can do 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Which would you prefer? That's an alternate choice close. If they pick 10, you win. If they pick 4, you win. You can put them on your schedule. Now it goes in your schedule, right? Now, if you have limited time, right? You have limited time to be able to do that. Well, guess what? Schedule the time where you can do it. Maybe you do it Saturdays. You know, I loved working Saturdays because I love talking to sellers. They're more relaxed. They more want to chill out. So here's the thing. Take calls from sellers. Build a rapport with them. Get them to like and trust you. Figure out the situation and the problem. Figure out how you can help them. Be sincerely interested in how you can help them. set an appointment with them, and then you can go back and analyze the deal. Well, the cool thing about REI Automator is you can go in there and you can actually analyze the deal. It gives you all the comparable sales, it gives you all the loan information, gives you the transaction history. You can actually, there's something called an offer automator on there, tells you what to offer the seller, tells you the max allowable offer, tells you the actual ARV of the property. That's what our guys use to make offers in the marketplace right now. It's called the Offer Automator. It's built right in to REI Automator, right? So reiautomator.com. So if you go there, it gives you the ability to analyze deals, analyze the market. So now you analyze the deals, you have an offer, and then you show up for the appointment. You call them back at the appointment time, talk about the comparable sales, what's going on in the marketplace, and then you make them an offer. Say, listen, I'm going to write up an offer. I'm going to send you a physical offer, and then write them the offer on the property. So when you do that, you write up that offer on that property. Now they're going to have a physical written offer in their hands. That's huge. That, my friends, is the ticket. Because here's the thing about this entire business is that it's a numbers game, right? It's like shucking. We talk about shucking oysters. The more oysters you shuck, the more pearls you find. It's like digging for gold. The more dirt you dig, the more gold you'll find, right? It's a numbers game. In this business, when you're brand new and starting out, for every 25 offers you make, you get one accepted contract. So your mission is to make. That's why, stay on to the end, because I'm going to give you our contract that you can download, that you can use to send to sellers so you can get contracts signed. Right? We're going to give it to you. So here's the deal. What you're going to do is now you're going to set the appointment. Then you're going to make the offers over the phone. And you can use REI Automator, Offer Automator inside there. You can turn around and you can make offers over the phone. Know exactly what it'll give you specifically what to offer, right? And then you locate and secure a closing agent. The best way to do that is talk to your boots on the ground, your partnership, your strategic partner, and ask them, hey, do you know an investor-friendly closing agent that can help us get the deal done? Oh yeah, I know so-and-so. They can help us get it done. Bam, you're good. You call them up on the phone, say, hey, I'd like to do an assignment, sell your contract, or double escrow, and they can help you facilitate that. Then we locate cash buyers in the market. Now, again, another easy thing, one thing great about REI Automator, the software that we use, you can go in, once you get the house, you can pinpoint the house on the map, and you can pull a radius around the property, or a square, and you can pull all the cash buyers that purchased in the last 12 months properties right around your property. And they're all going to show up, and then you can click on them, and guess what? You can do a little skip trace on them, find the actual owner that purchased the property, find out their phone number, and give them a call. We found some of our best buyers doing that. And guess what? You're sitting by the pool, hanging out, catching some rays on the phone, on your computer, doing analyzing, talking to seller. You send them a contract via DocuSign. You can go to DocuSign.com. You can check it out. You can just import your contract. You send it to them. They digitally sign it. It automatically comes back. Bam, you have an executed contract. You don't have to FedEx it. You don't have to snail mail it. You don't have to fax it. You literally just import it in this thing, you send it to them, they send it back, signed, and it's digitally signed and done. It's amazing. Technology is so much easier now than when I first got started. So now that you got your signed contract back, now you locate your buyer, you talk to the buyer. What do you say to the buyer? They say, hey, listen, I see that you purchased X and X property in June of this year or whatever. And, hey, listen, I have a property right now under contract right down the street from there, and we're selling it for this price if you're interested. I got 6 other people I got to call similar to buying properties, but I thought I'd call you and get you first dibs. Are you interested? You know what they're going to say? Absolutely. You know what? What's the address? Give me the details, and I'll drive by it and see if I can buy it. 99 times out of 10, they're going to say, okay, you know what? I'll take it. And what do? You DocuSign the contract, they put the information in there, and they sign it and send it back. Now you have a contract with a seller over the phone. You haven't met him, you just talked to him, you got it over the phone, and you have a contract with a buyer over the phone, it's done. And then you bring both those to a closing agent and say, let's do an assignment where you're going to sell your contract. You're going to sell your contract, and then bam, it's done. Now you get that deal done. Now it's done. And guess what? You get the spread in between. We closed the deal last week, right? We closed the deal last week. We gave the seller what they wanted, right? Oh, just, $80,000 deal. Now, 1 out of every 20 are going to be whales, right? Chris, sitting here right here, he's our video guy, watching this right now. He's doing the Instagram and all this stuff over here. The thing is he got his first deal, made 18,000 what? $18,400. We get a picture of him, show him his check. He's like, yeah, he's so excited, right? Huge, awesome. You can do it too, right? And he's a video guy, never did a deal. He used that money as a down payment so he could turn around and buy the house he's living in today with his family. Changing lives. Guess what? That can happen for you. So you locate cash buyer in the market. You showed you how to do that. With software and what they have now, it's so easy to do this remotely. Showing the property and getting the contract signed, guess what? You could secure it. The guy could do a drive-by. So now this is where the boot's in the ground. So let's say the seller is living in the house. You call the cash buyer, and the cash buyer says, let me do a drive-by, let me get inside it. So you call your boots on the ground and say, hey, listen, can you show the property to this guy? He's gonna meet over there at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Can you show it? Make sure they're not talking to the seller. Make sure they go in there and everything's copacetic, right? And they're gonna walk through and they're gonna do the thing, and guess what? Now you have your boots on the ground. They're watching your best interests of what's going on, and they get the contract signed, and then boom, you bring them to the closing agent, you get both the contracts, and bam, you get it signed. You are not even there. We have guys that are in Canada doing deals in the United States and crushing it and having a blast. You can do it too. Just like this. So let me ask you a question, right? I just want to take a census of everybody that's on, and maybe Jeremy can help me out, is type in the chat below, yes, if this is something that you would like to learn more about. Remote house flipping, doing deals, sitting by the pool, doing it over the phone, getting contracts signed, doing it remotely, or you're in a different country and you want to do deals in the United States, you're in a different small town or city, you want to do it, and you want to do deals completely remotely, not meeting with sellers. If this is something that really interests you, because I don't know, we're thinking about diving in a little bit more on this, but I'd like to know, type yes in the comments below. Yes, I would love to learn more about this. So if you type yes and you want to learn more about it, well, guess what? Maybe we'll put some time and energy into it and really make something incredible for you. So if you just type in yes. All right. So Jeremy can give me a consensus of that. All right, so now, no experience. So what do? You feel like you have no experience. You're sitting there and you're going, you know what? I'm overwhelmed. There's so much stuff to do. I'm afraid to talk to sellers. What if I screw up? Here's the thing, is that, it's funny. I look back on my life. For me, some of the biggest impacts where I was able to join a mastermind, and that mastermind changed the way I thought because I was a one-man show doing everything myself. But I've met several other people that say, I'm just going to figure it out myself, and then an $80,000 deal comes across their desk. An $18,400 deal comes across their desk, and because they don't know what to do specifically, it slips through their finger. And it could have been a great deal, or they don't know how to analyze the deal. So, what if a deal comes in and the seller owes $180,000 and the house is worth $200,000? And they really want to sell. What do you do? Well, guess what? You can structure that deal, leaving the existing loan in place, giving the seller a couple $1,000s, and flipping it and turn around and arbitraging the down payments for 15 to 20 grand down. All day, every day. They just have to be motivated. So here's the thing, with no experience, I get it. I was the exact same way. The only difference is I didn't have something like this, like a coaching session that could show me what to do. Show me how to do it. So we got a couple different options with no experience. You can figure it out yourself. But the problem is when you're trying to figure it out yourself, you are spending the time that maybe you do or do not have potentially doing the right thing or not the right thing. So you get time and energy that you're pouring into it. And then you've got money that you're spending on it, right? Maybe you're spending money on marketing. Maybe you're spending money on getting the wrong list or getting the wrong information, right? So you're spending money and going here and doing that. So now you're wasting time and you're wasting money trying to figure it out yourself. That was me, because I was cheap. I wanted to go figure it out myself. I figured if I could read books or watch videos or figure out a way to do it, I could figure it out. And I spent and wasted more time and lost more deals trying to figure it out myself. But hey, if that's the resource and that's what you have, that you can do it. Read books, watch videos, listen to podcasts. The problem is everything comes in and there's so many different shiny objects. And you're coming in with all these shiny objects and you're going, wait, I'm going to try this. And you try it for a week or two and it doesn't really work. I'm going to go try this. And you try it for a week or two and it doesn't work. I'm going to go try this. And you'll try it out and it doesn't really work. And maybe it does work a little bit and you get a little bit of traction and you try this business model. And I'm going to try this webinar. I get on this webinar and I try this and try that. And next thing you know, you're just getting jerked all around with not a clear, crystal, cut path on specifically what to do that you can get obsessed about. What did we talk about in the beginning? How do you crush it? How do you eliminate the whole time obstacle? Is you got to be 1,000% crystal clear. But the problem is there's so much media out there now of all these different, inundated with all these different methodologies and things to do and how to do it. Wouldn't it be nice to have a clear, cut, specific, absolute 100%, here's the path, here's it works, it's defined, and it's proven, specifically, right? Or you could find a local investor that will take you under their wing. That happens. It's hard to find to have a local investor because they're busy, they're doing deals, and stuff like that. So why would they take you under their wing? You could do it, I've seen how I've said, hey, I've got a local investor, work with me, and I've had somebody come back to me and go, man, they got screwed big time on deals, Or I want to give you another option, right? And this is something, again, Dee and I put together, but you can work directly with Dean and I. If you go to applyobm.com, what that will do is you can look at this and you can see. And here is the reason why. Because so many people have reached out to me on Instagram, reached out to Dean, reached out to his team, reached out to from Flip to Freedom family, ripped out from the DG family, all have reached out, literally just inundated. How do you do this? And how do you write this contract? And how do you do this? And what do you do? And how do you do that? And what do you do? And I try to answer, but I can't answer everything. He can't answer everything. So we said, hey, listen, maybe we could put something together where we could give a clear-cut, decisive path and work with, Dean and I, and work with our team. And give you the option. It's only an option. It's something that potentially could work for you, And we look at every application that comes through. And here's the thing I want to explain: is I went to a mastermind, my first mastermind I ever attended. And prior to going to that mastermind, I was doing deals. I wasn't brand new. I was doing deals. I was doing a handful of deals. But the problem was I was working 7 days a week. Literally 7 days a week. I was doing everything myself. I was answering all the calls from the sellers. I was answering all the calls from the buyers. I was doing all the marketing. I was doing all the transaction coordination. I was doing everything myself. Everything. And I was frustrated because my relationship with my wife was deteriorating. My relationships with my kids was deteriorating. I was getting completely out of shape. I was frustrated. I'm like, I traded a job that I hated for a business I loved. But the problem is I was working myself to the bone because I had no systems or processes. So the bottom line is that I was offered something like this. I had to apply, and they said, yeah, maybe this guy would be a good fit. Because maybe I wasn't a good fit, but thank God I was a good fit. And that's why we have an application, because you know what? We want to make sure that you are a good fit. This works for you. And it's the right thing for the right person. It works for them, and it helps them achieve the goals and dreams they want to achieve. There's a lot of people that might not be right for. And there's a handful of people that might be right for. And maybe it's you and maybe it's not, but at least you can have the opportunity and see. And see, what happens is I turn around, and thank God it was right for me, because I needed it at the time. I needed direction. Because here's the thing, you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And I was at a time right there where I didn't know what I didn't know, and I was doing deals. I was loving it. I mean, I love being in my own business, but I was literally exhausted, and I saw no end in sight. How could I get off this hamster of just doing a couple deals a month? And I went there. The funniest thing is they had a basic position where you get up in front of the room and you kind of tell about the good things you have going on, what's going great in your business, and then what is not going good in your business. And I stood up there, and I remember I was telling what great, and I was like, I'm struggling. I'm doing everything myself. I'm working. I'm staying up late. I'm doing stuff. I'm working all the time. I just can't get a break. I can't go. I mean, I would go on vacation and I would sit on the beach for a couple, 2-3 days, and I'd be stressed out. My phone would be ringing off the hook. I'd have to get up off the beach and go try to find reception to talk to them. My kids are out playing in the ocean. I'm sitting there trying to talk on the phone, do a deal. I have a deal fall apart, and I go, I'll be all stressed out and go back and I'd be feeling guilty because if I left, we didn't make any money. If I left out of my bit, we didn't make any money. And tough situation. So I'm sitting there and I got to figure something out, and I don't know what to do because I didn't know what I didn't know. So what happened was, I remember I stood in front of the room, and a guy named Jason, close friend of mine now, he said, hey, he goes, let me ask you a question. He goes, why don't you hire? I was like, hire? What do you mean hire? Hire? I can't hire, right? I used to be a prior Marine. I have no college education. I can't hire anybody. I'm not even a business guy. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just doing deals. Hire? I don't have an office. He goes, why don't you hire? I was like, okay. So I went out and I hired my first person. It was a referral from my father-in-law. Her name was Nancy, right? And she was about almost 58, 59 years old, sweetest lady. She came in for the interview, and I'm all like, I'm coming in for the interview, and I'm all like, I was nervous for this interview. I've never did an interview before. I've never done an interview. I'm like, okay, what do I do? I'm sitting there, and I'm all professional, and I have my questions on my notepad. I'm going to do an interview. And she sits across the desk from me, right? And she's sitting there, and we're sitting there doing our interview. And I'm asking her, so what do you think you can bring to my company? Stupid. I'm such a moron, right? I'm like, what am I doing? So I'm sitting there asking these dumb questions. And she's sitting there nodding her head and answering the questions and being very polite. And it was funny is she left, right? And I was like, oh, jeez, I was so bad. And I went into the bathroom. I can't believe I'm telling you this, but I went in the bathroom. And I looked up and I looked in the mirror, and I had a big, wet, juicy booger on the end of my nose. And I'm sitting there and I go, oh, what a moron. But you know what? She came back, she took the job, and she literally, from that point forward, I understood leverage. And leverage is an incredibly important thing. Leverage is, guess what? When I was meeting with a seller and she was actually doing the marketing plan. She was doing transactional coordination. She was talking to the sellers and booking appointments when I was on an appointment with a seller. When I was meeting a buyer, she was doing it. I made one stipulation with her, just one. I told her, I said, listen, for you to continue working for me, if I ever have another booger on my nose, you best tell me or you're fired. And she agreed. And we had a great working relationship. And then I understood the power of leverage. So it's amazing. I had to get myself out of the way. I had to have someone coach me, show me, tell me what I didn't know. And it's funny, now I participated in and spent tens of thousands of dollars on myself and participated in some of the best of masterminds, including Organized Brilliance Mastermind with Dean and what he does and stuff. And literally, it changes lives because when you get a different perspective on your situation and someone has an invested interest in your success, on you becoming successful, it changes everything. It changes because you get relevant, specific, detailed advice to help you progress. And most importantly, accountability. Accountability to where you're going to show up. And that's showing up you're going to show up, you're going to show up, you're going to show up, and you're going to get better, and you're going to progress, and you're going to grow as a person. Because guess what? You don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what you don't know, you can't get yourself out of the way. And I can tell you it's an amazing experience. And if you've never, ever participated in any education outside of high school and college and stuff like that, where you're actually in an environment and you surround yourself with like-minded people that are enthusiastic and positive, and they're all going in the same direction, and they're using the same systems and processes, and they're having the similar struggles, and you're collaborating and talking and having lunch with them and building relationships with someone. It's amazing what happens not only in these masterminds and the groups we do and stuff, what happens outside of it as well. Because the collaboration, because people talking and they're messaging back and forth and they're doing cool stuff outside, it's amazing. The bottom line is that if it's for you, like I said, it's not for everybody, is that it can be absolutely life-changing. So here's the thing, is I know we went through a lot of information. I know we went through a lot of details and specifics, and I hope it made a massive impact in your life, but I wouldn't want to leave you hanging. Where now you got all this information and you want to be obsessed and you want to be crystal clear and you got your goal and you have your schedule and you want to crush it and you're going to wake up early, you're only going to sleep 6 hours and you're going to take the steps and write 25 letters a day. But what happens when a seller calls and they're in foreclosure and the foreclosure happens in a week and they owe $225,000 and they have a second lien on a property, and it goes in a week and the thing's worth $300 and they just want to get rid of it? What do? It's going to happen. That's a smoking deal, and it's going to come across your desk. And if you don't know what to do or have someone to call or have someone to talk to, then you could lose that deal to someone that knows what to do, right? And can get it happen and solve that problem for that seller. The cool thing is I didn't want to leave you hanging and just say, now, okay, great, now go for it. To give maybe just 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 of you the ability to apply and see if you'd like to work with us. So go to apply@obm.com, apply@obm.com. I would love to get to know you. dive into your life, dive into who you are, dive into your business, dive in and help you accomplish amazing success and be that dot for you. Where 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you go back and go, oh my gosh, I am so glad I made that decision. And we talk about decision. Decision is the catalyst. Everything comes down to a decision. There's no decision, that's a decision, and there's a decision to do it. But I mean, this is easy, because you just go in, just apply, and go through the questions. I think there's a handful of questions on there, maybe 2 handfuls of questions, maybe 3 handfuls of questions on there, because I want to make sure you're right. And you can go there, go to that page. Now, talk about your free contract. Free contract. This contract is the contract we use. If you go to get the free contract, go to apply@obm.com, apply@obm.com. You go to that page, watch the video. Under that page, under the buttons, the link down there, there will be a link to download the purchase contract. Now, that purchase contract, remember, your mission is for every 25 written physical offers equates in 1 accepted contract signed. So your mission, I want you to leave here understanding that your mission, because what happens is if you have an expectation, you understand that you might have not made 25 offers. You might be looking at yourself going, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to figure it out, I'm trying to do it, but I can't do it. Right? How many offers have you made? Well, I've made 4 offers. Maybe you've made none. I made 3. Maybe you made 2. Maybe you made 12. Maybe you made 17. You're not there yet. 25 written offers equates to 1 contract. So go to applyobm.com right now on the screen. You go there, and below there is the contract. Make sure you apply, save the page, watch the videos on there. Figure out which one you're. I mean, you're a beginner, you're brand new, you're just getting your contract. If you're brand spanking new, click the beginner one, right? So now we know how to talk to you. Now we know how to say, listen, your mission is to get your first check. Well, that's different from someone that's, guess what? Maybe they've done 1, 2, or 3 or 4 deals, right? They've done one or 3 or 5 deals or whatever. They have different issues, different goals and ambitions than someone that's brand new. They want systems. Now they're going to start hiring. Now they're going to start systems and processes, and they need to know basically the organizational structure. They need to know the payment structure, right? They need to know the payroll structure. They need to know how to find rock stars, how to manage them, how to build a team, how to scale their marketing. What type of percentage do you put back in the marketing, right? How all that works, how to build the systems, how to build the organizational chart, figure out the KPIs, the reporting, the scorecards that everybody can hone in on. That type of person right there that's in the middle is doing 2 or 3 deals, maybe 2 or 3 deals a month, 3 or 4 or 5 deals a year. That person, when they understand how this whole system works in the blueprint, building the blueprint, they're gonna just launch and take off. I've seen it happen time and time again. They get their KPIs straight, they get their systems and processes straight, and then bam, they blow up. Blow up. And I know you want to blow up. Now, if you're a baller, you're crushing it already, well, guess what? What's the next level? It's still systems and processes and being able to walk away. You know you have a business if you can walk away for a year. Not a year, my fault. A month. You walk away from your business for a month, and if you still have income coming in every single month, then you have a viable business. And you're going to do that 2 different ways. Either A, you're going to have a team of employees, of a team, partners, a team that are crushing it, that knows how to do deals, that the leads are coming in, the phone's being answered, they're turning around crushing it. Or you're going to have apartment complexes that are paying you every single month in residual income. That's where we syndicate large apartment complexes, big apartments. And that's where you do a syndication, you do a private placement, and you turn around, you raise capital, and you buy these large apartment complexes, and that's how we're able to, I mean, we own $20 million right now. We got another $20 million in escrow, own $40 million in the next 90 days. That's just paying residual income every single month. Well, you got to learn how to do that. And you got to learn the right partnerships and keys that you can make that happen. Well, see, depends on where you are. Well, guess what? That's a different conversation with a baller than a beginner, and a different conversation with someone that is in the process of hiring their first 2 or 3 or 4 people. Should I get a VA or should I get someone? How do you do that? Well, guess what? It's all laid out systematically. So go on this page, apply at obm.com, click the thing below of whichever you are, whichever fits your best category, and fill it out. And guess what? We look at every single one of them. I see every single one of them. And guess what? We can decide, make a decision if it's right for you or not. Just a conversation. There's absolutely no obligation. And if you see fit, great. If not, no big deal. So go down there at least, or get your contract recorded. And I really appreciate you guys being here. I know I went super long. I apologize, but I had a ton of content, a ton of information. And I hope this truly made a massive, massive impact in your life. And I look back where I was when I was 33 years old. I was struggling. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I was overweight. I was depressed. I was drinking too much. And I was like, I wanted more out of life. And I literally thank God every single day. And I'm absolutely so grateful that I turned the radio station back and happened to listen to what this guy said. And then all of a sudden, I met, I applied the information because I wanted out of my situation so bad. And then I happened to meet this Jason that introduced me to a mastermind that helped me then I understood the power of surrounding yourself with amazing people. And I really dove into that, and then it took me to the next level. And then to meet someone like Dean, which is amazing, which has made a massive, massive impact in my life. He's at a level that it's just amazing. I mean, traveling around, speaking with Tony Robbins, writing incredible books, doing amazing. I'd love to write a book like that. I'm working on one right now, which is amazing. But I never even thought about doing it unless meet someone like Dean. I've known him for the past 10 years, and he's a truly genuine person that cares about you, cares about your success, and cares about what you achieve and accomplish in your life. So, thank you for being here tonight. Have an amazing weekend or week coming up. Go out there and crush it. If you'd like to work with us, go to apply@obm.com. Go there, get your contract, download it. Thank you so much for your time. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I hope and pray that this made a difference in your life. So take care. God bless.